We've been seeing a lot of deer up near our orchard, and it's not hunting season, so we need to come up with a plan to protect our trees. Hey everybody, welcome back to Living Traditions Homestead. This is Kevin and Sarah. Well, spring is about here, we hope anyway. They're actually predicting some flurries this weekend, but we're hoping that spring is just around the corner, and we've been noticing just a ton of deer everywhere when we're driving places. The other night we counted, I think, like 18 in one field just down the road. So, and we've been finding quite a bit of deer poop in our orchard area, which means they're starting to come up pretty close to our house and pretty close to, well, just, you know, our gardens and everything else, which isn't a big deal right now for the gardens because nothing is planted. But any time now, our orchard trees are going to start getting their leaves, and we're really worried that the deer are going to destroy our orchard trees, which are really tiny little trees.
Right, and prior to this, we haven't really had to worry. Now, we moved onto this property about a year and a half ago, and we put these trees in at about that time, but we were doing a lot of, you know, moving around and lots of commotion around here that I think that the deer were afraid to come up close to the house. Well, now we're pretty settled around here, and I think they're becoming more and more comfortable, and they're starting to move into areas. We've been noticing deer poop in different areas, and I'm really just worried that, you know, in one night, man, they could just take care of all of our little orchard trees, and they're so vulnerable right now, being so small. So my point is, we haven't had to put a fence around it yet, and we've gone back and forth about what to do for permanent fencing, where the borders should be, and we just are not, we still aren't certain 100% what we want to do, but we need a temporary fix for a month or so until we can figure out exactly what we're going to do, and that is where we're at today.
Right. So, we've been, again, toying around with the idea of what to do. So we haven't made a final decision, but we did make a final decision on what to do temporarily.
Right.
And that is that we're going to use the electric netting that we normally have around our garden in the summer. And we're actually going to use that around the orchard for the next 6 weeks or so. And then I also just recently picked up a new solar charger that we're going to be using in our pig area when I get that up and running here in the next month or so. So we're actually going to use that solar charger on this electric netting until we need it somewhere else. So we didn't really have to invest anything to come up with this temporary solution, which is great. And we're just going to get it set up, and I'm going to just do a little bit of a review as I set up this solar charger. It's a new brand that I haven't used before, but it had really good reviews. So I'll show you guys that as we set it up. And we'll just get this netting set up and see. I hope that it's going to work out well. Now there are one thing that we need to kind of not worry about, but keep in mind when we're setting this up, is that our ducks, their house is inside of our orchard area. And so we need to make sure wherever we put a gate in this electric netting, that it's where the ducks will be able to find it to be able to get in and out and into their house at night. So we're going to try to put the gate as close as we can to their house so that hopefully they'll be able to get in and out pretty easily.
Right. I would love to give you guys an orchard tour, but right now those trees just like they look like little sticks in the ground.
Here's one of them. Can you even see it?
But last summer, I think, I did an orchard tour video, and I'll go ahead and put a link to that right up here. And I'm hoping that this year I'll be able to do another orchard tour to show you kind of what they look like now, and also the fencing once we figure out what we're going to do for sure and put that in.
Right.
But just so you have an idea, we do have apple trees, crab apple, peach, pear, plum, cherry, blueberries, a bunch of berry bushes.
Right. And believe it or not, these have already almost doubled in size since we put them in. So they are doing well. They just take a long time, which, you know, is something we always recommend to people. If you buy a homestead and it doesn't have mature trees, get trees put in right away.
Yes. Because
it's going to be one of those things that's going to take a long time before it starts to, you know, pay you back. So it's one of the things we recommend you do, you know, that very first season you're on your homestead.
Absolutely.
So we're going to get busy putting this fence up, and we need to get it done before dark because, hey, you know, it's like if you put something off, then that's going to be the night that all the deer show up and gang up on you. So
we've learned that lesson.
Right. So we want to get it done before nightfall. So we're going to get busy working. The fence all up. We love this electric netting because it's so fast to put up. Honestly, if we weren't going to have berry bushes growing around the outside of the orchard, like blackberries and things like that, we'd probably just use this permanently as our type of fencing, but the blackberries and things would grow in it and it would be a big nightmare. So. All right, so the solar charger that I decided to go with was it's a Herdsman brand. It's a 6-volt solar charger. It's a 1.5 joule charger. It was I bought it at our local farm supply store. It was a pretty good deal. It was about $175. It's actually a better deal than the chargers through Premier One. So you know, this is it's the Herdsman brand, but it's made by a company called Parmac. Parmac is a well-known fence, electric fence company, and they make some good products. So I think we'll be real happy with it. I'm going to go ahead and get this set up. The first thing we need to do is put in a grounding rod. I went with a 6-foot grounding rod. I think that should be plenty. This is a pretty small fence. Okay, so I've got the grounding rod in as far as I can. It went in about 3 feet, and I think that'll be enough. If this was going to be a permanent fence that was going to be up here longer, I'd try harder, or I'd move it to another spot, or even maybe put in a second grounding rod and jump them together. But I think this will be okay for a temporary fence. We'll just make sure when we're done, we check it with a fence tester to make sure it's getting enough power. So all I'm going to do is hook. I've got a piece of insulated wire, electric fence wire. And we're just going to hook that to the grounding rod with a grounding clamp, and then the other end we'll just go to the negative side of the fence charger. That should be fine. All right, and then on the other side, we'll just take the same kind of wire, insulated wire. We'll hook one end to the positive on the charger. Now I've had this charger out in the sun for about 4 days. It says 5 days in the directions, but it's been 4 days. With the power turned off so that it would charge up, so it would fully charge the battery before we used it. So, and then the other end we'll just hook to the clip here on the electric fence. And they do sell wires that have, clips on the end. That's what we have on some of our fences, but If you just get a good connection, this works just as well. All right, so that should be all set. We'll go ahead and put the fence up here. Now this is actually two electric nets hooked together. They're hooked over there. So this end, again, this is where the gate is. So this end of your electric net, you want to make sure it's clipped back to itself to complete the loop in the electricity. So that way it runs, comes in, goes all the way around, goes all the way back into the ground. And this charger has a little meter right on it that tells you if it's powered. It says that it is. And then I have a little tester here as well that you can touch the fence with, and it'll tell you here how many volts the fence is getting.
Well, you guys, I think that this is going to be a great temporary solution for our fencing problem, keeping the orchard safe from the deer until we can figure out what the heck we're going to do for permanent fencing. It buys us like 4 to 6 weeks to figure everything out. The main thing that we're working around is how to fence in the orchard area, plus we have raised bed gardens over here and what to do with the little guest cabin we have, and we just need to figure that all out.
I really am happy with, first of all, the Premier One fencing. If you guys haven't used the Premier One electric netting, we use it all over the homestead. Whenever we need a temporary solution or even a semi-permanent solution, it's what we use because it goes up so fast. It's so portable. You know, I recommend. I've read a lot of reviews about electric fencing, and I think they are by far the best for the electric netting. Now, as far as the charger goes, I'm also really happy with this charger. It's completely metal, which I really like. It's 100% made in the USA by Parmac, which actually a Missouri company. So, you know, it's a good way to keep money here in our state as well. But you can just tell it's really well made.
Well, you guys, thanks so much for stopping by today. If this is your first time that you stopped by the homestead, we would love for you to go ahead and hit the subscribe button below. If you are one of our tried and true traditionalists that comes back every day, welcome. Thanks so much for stopping by. Before you go, we'd love to hear comments or questions down below. And hey, share this with your family and friends. Until next time, guys, thanks so much for stopping by the homestead. Take care and God bless.
God bless.